Hello? Right now I'll be going over an example of an ambush lane. So the pertinent information I picked away from the op board that was given to me by the PL. Enemy, 2 to 3 lightly armed, highly trained Arianian special forces traveling from east to west on this road. Probable course of action is that they will fight to death. Most dangerous course of action is that they'll call in indirect fire. Left unit mission, second squad takes a blocking position at grid whatever, denoted by this depiction right here. Third squad provides rear security at the Alpha Alpha. We have no priority of fires. We have 2 M249s, 1 AT4, and 2 Claymores. Okay, so the first thing I would like to think about is, well, the first thing you're always supposed to do is give it out to the RTO and then make sure that they can give you an accurate representation of the terrain around where you're conducting your mission. You would see here that there are mountains or hills right here that are kind of conveniently placed for an L-shaped ambush. I would be hesitant, however, to start out with putting my guys on these hills because the most dangerous course of action is that they will call an indirect fire. Now, since they're highly trained Arianian special forces, more likely than not, they might have pre-planned targets, especially since they know that intersections are areas of which ambushes take place often because vehicles have to slow down and therefore easier to hit with an AT4. So since I know that second squad right here is in a blocking position for rear security, I wouldn't have to worry about anyone coming in from that direction. So I will go ahead and start from the Alpha Alpha, set up an ORP, however much distance away you would set up an ORP, doctrinally 200 meters away, but in reality, somewhere that you can't be seen or heard. I'd set up my ambush probably along this road here, off of the hills, because I don't want to be subject to any indirect fire if they do have the chance to call that in. Third squad provides rear security. Okay, so let's just assume that that's the plan and that goes on. You go ahead and you ambush this 2 to 3 men in using concealed positions. You kill them all. Now you have to set up security. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys time to think about where you're going to put your 249s or where you're going to put your Claymores and stuff like that, if you weren't going to put down the 2 Claymores to have an ambush in the first place. Okay, so I'll give you guys a second to pause. Okay, so again, the point of this class is to teach you guys to think outside of the box. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you guys would put people in L-shaped ambush. I'm sure the TACs would see that a lot, and they won't give you an N for not thinking about pre-planned targets. But when you're briefing this in the execution portion of your op board, it's going to show that you use terrain analysis, that you use critical thinking to know that they may have indirect fire, and that they are highly trained. So it just shows that you're thinking outside the box, and that, I believe, is what's going to help most people get an E. So personally, I would also brief this rather specifically, is where I want my security or how I want my security to be set up. Since I know that I have rear security and I came up from that direction, there's a lot less likely of a chance that men are going to be coming up from the rear. Likewise, second squad's to the south and going to be protecting this southwestern portion, especially this high speed avenue of approach. So really that just leaves this section right here if you set security. So say you set 360 security on the road. You're really just going to want to protect this area with more men than not. Now this doesn't mean that you don't place any men on this side of the security, because you don't know if there have been people hiding out in other places. Maybe there is one person on the hill for whatever reason as a lookout. You don't want to be subject to that. But you do know that more likely than not, people can be using this road or coming in from this open area. So because of that, I'll put a 240 or a 249 facing out towards the direction of the road, maybe around right there, in case there is a high-speed hour, in case there are reinforcements that are coming in via the road. Likewise, I would also put an AT4 there as well. in case there are any vehicles or fortified positions. Other than that, I would probably place a 249 on the outside edge of the security as well, so you can cover out more land. Since it is an open area, 240 Bravo's pivot and swivel can cover a lot of ground. Claymores, same thing. I'm going to want the Claymores on the road because they can still take out soft-shelled targets. A Claymore will still mess up a pickup truck pretty easily. So one Claymore here. And the second Claymore, possibly outside the edge of your security from your what's covered by the 249. Or just a second Claymore on the road. You don't know if one Claymore is going to be ever enough to take out a soft shell target in case you missed your AT-4. They are single shot rocket launchers anyways. And remember that there's no right way of doing this. What I'm demonstrating here is domain knowledge and conceptual and critical thinking. And that's what I'm trying to convey to you guys. Maybe you guys could have rehearsed the fallback plan in case if you guys had a assault and support set up on the hills in case there is indirect fire. Maybe you wanted to set up on the opposite side of the road. Maybe you would have wanted to have an ambush over on this side, right over here. You can do any of that, but remember that terrain analysis, knowing what areas are subject to what advantages and disadvantages, as well as pulling out key pieces of information from the op board, such as knowing that you don't have priority of fires, and so don't plan for that. You know you have a 249. Where are you going to put that? Now, as far as setting up an ambush position, and the reason I didn't go over where I would put my guys on an ambush is because that, above all, is based on METTC. And I know I always say about how vague that is, but you can't tell from a map how much concealment you're going to have. You can't say I'm going to put 2 saw gunners right dead middle with 2 claymores on the sides because you don't know if there's going to be any concealment there. Maybe there's no concealment here and you have to push back your ambush line 200 meters, 300 meters from the road. But once again, think about the effective range of an M16. Think about the effective range of a 249. You can still more than easily eliminate 2 to 3 men with 13 people from 300 meters away. That shouldn't be an issue. Okay, so this concludes this video, and I'll be posting up one more.